What up, Chicken Nuggets? Tyler here with Tarver Cards. This is Sports Cards Are Dope podcast. Today, I want to talk to you and give you my 3 tips if you want to have a flea market booth that focuses on sports cards. Let's jump into it like your little brother who your dad threw in the pool. So, number 1, first tip. I've had it for, let me give you a little background. So I have a flea market booth. I don't have my own store. Like some people sometimes hits me up and they're like, Tarver Cards, where's your store? I'm like, well, I have a flea market booth. So it's, I say antique mall, flea market, whatever I'm supposed to call it so that the people that own it don't get irritated at me. It's called the Cotton Shed. It's in Bryant, Arkansas. If you're around there, holla at your boys right off the interstate. So you can go in. I have a booth and then I have a showcase. So the showcase is like a glass, it's like 4 or 5 shelves and it's covered by glass. So you have to like request a key. You walk over and they kind of stand there and watch. So then you can walk over to my booth where people are walking up and down the aisles and they can go in the booth, find things and buy it. So in the showcase, I have some graded cards. I have some mystery packs, some Pokemon mystery packs. I've got some, sports card, basketball mystery packs. Then I also have some I have some 2 and 3 row boxes, and they have different, every sport, baseball, basketball, football, but anything that's $5 or more is in there. And then I also have some magazines, a couple games, things like that in there. I used to have an Atari in there for a while, but then it sold. So that's all in the showcase. And then the booth, I've got stuffed animals. I've got vinyl records. I have, a bunch of Arkansas stuff. Got some pads. I got some like packs that I've made. I call them the Chicken Nugget Super Fun Packs. And they've got cards in there. And then I've also got a bunch of 3 and 4 row boxes with dollar singles. So that's a little background on the booth. And now I'm going to give you my 3 tips if you wanted to start your own booth and have sports cards in it. Okay. So the first thing is, whatever you put in the booth, so I'm not talking about the showcase, but whatever you put in the booth, be aware that it might get stolen, okay? I have cameras watching my booth. Sometimes you get lucky. Most of the time, they're going to get away with it, okay? Just know that whatever you put in that booth, there's a chance somebody going to have a 5-finger discount, which just means you grab your 5 fingers, you grab the card, and you put it in your pocket and walk out, okay? There's not enough workers and not enough cameras to watch people all the time, especially if they're sitting there, going through cards or looking at things. Stuff can get stolen. I learned this very early on because I didn't have a showcase. I just had a booth. And so I went and I would go to Barnes & Noble. And at the time I had a teacher discount. So I got 20% off. So I was like, this would be great. I think they took like 10%. And I just wanted to have some wax there so that people would see it and want to come by. So I would have like, little blasters and hangers, and I would toss them in my booth. Well, they started, I was like, oh, these go pretty fast. So I went and bought some more and put them in there. And then I started looking at my sales, and I didn't see those on my sales. And so I was like, oh my gosh, these things are getting stolen. So I kind of kept an eye on it, and I noticed they were getting stolen. And then I talked to a guy who had a booth next to me who did like candlesticks or something. And he told me, I would do mystery boxes. And I started seeing like some of my mystery boxes were opened or some of the cards were laying out. And I was like, this is messed up. And I talked to him one time because he was in there whenever somebody was in there and that was in there for a while. And he's like, yeah, sketchy dude was over there. And I saw and he had on the ground. What was happening was the person was going in and I had like taped the big like 3 and 4 row boxes, and I just stacked them with like base cards and sold them for like $10-$20. You pretty much buying it for the box maybe, and I throw in some good ones. That way you get 2 or 3, $2 to $5 cards. And what the person was doing is they go in and they would cut the tape on the 4 sides, and then they would take out the base cards and they would put in those wax boxes and then stick in all of those, and they were just literally just picking and choosing. Like it was like those old game shows where you have the cart and you run and you throw things in the cart. They were throwing that into those boxes and then walking out for $10-$20 and getting, $100 worth of wax. And so I have a suspect of who this dude was because we actually caught him later. He would go in. This dude we did catch, and I caught him on camera, and I know him because he would go to the shop and he would go to my LCS as well. But what he would do is he would go in there and grab a seat, sit down. I actually saw him one time, but I didn't see him doing this, but he was in there when I walked into the stock at one time. What he was doing was, at the time I had binders, and so I would have like complete sets, but I wanted people to see all the cards in the set, because sometimes I'd take out 1 or 2 cards and then sell the set cheaper because it was missing like the main player. But if somebody was a set collector, they can get all but like 1 card, and I wanted them to be able to see it. And so they were in binders. This dude would go in and sit there with his binder or pick a binder And he would go in and he would flip through, pull out the main cards, like the most expensive ones, stick them in his binder, and then buy one binder, but have picked out through the top 10 or 20 binders all the best cards. Like we all know in sets, there's like one card that's usually like 90% of the value of the set. And this dude was picking through. Now, one of the workers saw him, told him he couldn't do that. They understood what was happening. And then I went back and looked at the camera, and that's exactly what he was doing. So keep in mind, if you put it out in the open, there's a good chance it could get stolen. Once I got that showcase, I pulled all my wax out of there after that happened, except for like little packs, like $1 to $2 packs. I'll keep those in there. And yeah, there's people that open them all the time and look at them and then just toss the cards back in. I'll lose a couple. You just got to know that's the chance of happening. And then I've had other dealers or other vendors in there say, yeah, I find your cards stuffed into my like coffee mugs and stuff. I'm like, oh, great. So don't put anything out in the open in the Wild Wild West area that you're not okay with it getting stolen. So pretty much if it's small, I don't put anything under anything $5 or more in there. I put it in my showcase. So once I got the showcase, that's where I put any sealed wax. It's where I put any cards that are $5 or more. Any of that, I stick out there, and I just know that there's a chance somebody's going to steal the rest. So if you can't get a showcase, don't put the high value stuff out there unless it's big. You know, it's hard to stuff. Like I've got a big Pikachu that's like really expensive because it's like rare. It's like $80, $90 on eBay, and so I got it priced like $80, $90. It looks cool out there. I don't care if it sells. If somebody tries to steal that, it's going to look awkward. All right. Pokemon, Pikachu, can't catch that one. All right. So that's what I would think. Keep the high value stuff in the glass case or behind the table. Keep it somewhere where people can't just steal it. Okay. So next one. Number 2, know your audience. Know your audience. I started seeing the biggest growth in my sales, and it takes a while for it to build up anyways, but I saw the biggest growth in my sales when I started monitoring what was actually selling in my booth. Fun fact for me, like it's Pokemon stuff. So if I'm a DJ, that's my Drake song is Pokemon. That's what people get hyped and start dancing with too. You know, Kiki, do you love me? No, they love Charizard. And so Pokemon started selling well. So even though I don't collect Pokemon, I started doing like graded Pokemon mystery packs. I sold like 2 or 3 of them today. I would go to shows, and even though I don't collect Pokemon, I see a guy with a huge box of Pokemon cards. I'm like, hey man, how much for the whole box? $100. Usually it's like $100 to $200. All right, cool. I'll do it. I'm getting, 500 cards. Those singles, I can sell them for $1 each, and I only got to sell like half to get my money back. So I'll do that. And plus, even if I break even on it, it still brings people in. They start looking through. I've noticed this, yes, you get a lot of kids that collect Pokemon, but it's really cool too, because you get, like, believe it or not, most adults don't collect sports cars. I know we like to think everybody does because all of our friends do, all the people we actually care about do, you and me. But with most adults, I'll see them come in, and that Pokemon has, I think, more nostalgia with a lot of that audience. Like I've seen people in their 20s and 30s come in, and they'll stop at the Pokemon thing and start going through it. Women, apparently a lot more women from what I can tell are into Pokemon versus sports cards with regards to what I sell at my booth. So at these shows, you've got to know your audience. Where me, I mostly buy PC. I have to think outside the box and be like, okay, I'm going to start trying to make something, package stuff for people that are into that. So one thing I started doing was when I'd buy that bulk Pokemon, I'll take a lot of those singles that aren't worth much, like commons, like 10, 20 cent cards, and I'll stack like 20 or 30 of those. And then I'll grab like a couple, two or three foil cards, and then maybe a couple like 90s cards, and I'll put those in like their own pack. And then I went and bought at my local Quick Copy, I got these like little, it's like card stock, and it says Chicken Nugget Super Fun Pack. And then I price them at like, anywhere from $3 to $9. And then I fold it over and staple it above the pack. I wish I had one here with me. I could show you. But if I remember, hit me up and I'll post it on my Instagram story or my Instagram to show you guys. But it was me trying to be clever in how I package. So I've got Pokemon singles. I've got those Chicken Nugget Super Fun Packs. I've got graded Pokemon cards that people can see. And then I've also got graded mystery packs. So that's what sells. I got my first round of mystery packs for Pokemon there. Like they were not that great, but they sold pretty well because people like Pokemon. So selling real well, and it's actually seeing a lot of rise in the market too. They're selling for a lot of Hobby Nonsense podcast. Check him out, Jesse Gibson. He's the GOAT. Go check out his podcast, Hobby Nonsense. It's great. They're focusing you've probably heard of sports card nonsense, but this is Hobby Nonsense, and it focuses on that side of it. So it's a great one. Okay. And number 3, my third tip is have some variety. I don't just do cards. Yes, I have a ton of cards in my booth. You know, whether it's, oh, I didn't finish this thought. Those binders, what I did, because that dude stole them, I literally pulled them out, took all of them out of binders and put them in. They're actually like these like clear packages that people usually put clothes in. Like if you go buy like a button-up shirt, it comes in like a weird plastic thing. You like have to like open it up. I put them in there, taped them up. And so that's what I have. Oh, I'm sorry, I have the hiccups. That's what I have them in. And that's so that people can't swipe out the good ones. And so no more binders. Don't do open card binders. That's another tip for it. A little free bonus tip. So I'll put those in there. Whenever you are, so I've got those cards singles, I've got those packs, like the full set packs or almost full set packs. Then I've got mystery. I've got a lot of card stuff. But then also my kids and I in the summer and like when it gets warmer, we start hitting up yard sales because they like to do it. And it's good for budgeting. I give them all like $20 each and they have to like budget what they want and what they don't want. So it's just a chance for them to learn to buy the things they want without spending all their money in one spot. And so whenever we go to these things, yeah, I'm looking for sports cards. But if I see any like cool band clothing, like vintage t-shirts, sports jerseys, things like that. I did a really good at a local yard sale in my neighborhood. And there was a dude who used to be like a big Eagles fan. And I bought a ton of like, did Randy Moss play for the Eagles? I know he played for the Patriots. I kept that jersey. But I bought probably like, I don't know, 10 to 15 jerseys, like good football jerseys from him for $90 total. $90. I bought like 10 to 15 jerseys. One of those was like a Randy Moss. I thought the Eagles because it was a Randy Moss throwback. It was like his high school jersey. It's like green. And there was like no sales, nothing. So I just put it at like $200 on eBay. Sat there for like 5 or 6 months. Ended up selling it for $150. Like I made my money back on that one jersey. I think all my other jerseys have sold in the booth. So it's very sports oriented. So anything sports memorabilia, Pokemon. I've got Pokemon stuffed animals. I do a lot of stuffed animals do well. Because they're weird to ship if you do it on eBay. So people have to pay like a $10 like shipping fee. So I've found that I've got stuffed animals. I can get it for like $1 or less at at yard sales, and I'll toss those in the booth. I've done VHSs. I've got DVDs. I just have a variety of things like vinyl records. I said earlier, like I have a variety of things in my booth because if it's just sports cards or even just Pokemon cards, you're limiting your audience. And I have to cover several $100s a month just to cover my booth and showcase fees. So it's like, I got to sell it or else I'm losing money. And honestly, knock on wood, I've never lost money in any month I've done it. Now there's been months where I only made $100, but there's also months where I make almost $2,000. And so I could do a more financial breakdown if you guys like this on what I make on most months, but that's what you got to do. Look at what's selling and lean into that. And then also have a variety. So to recap, number one, don't put out anything expensive that's, can go in a pocket. That can get stolen. It will get stolen. All right. I don't care how. It's one of the Cotton Shed where I have mine, one of the nicest flea market antique malls I've been to. They'll still steal. Okay. People still steal stuff. So don't put it out there if you're not okay with it getting stolen. Number two, lean into your audience. Start watching your sales and getting more of that. Having variety of that. Singles, packs, mystery packs, graded stuff, higher end, lower end. Have a variety, okay? Because people, even in the Pokemon world, there's a wide range of collectors in what they want. A lot of Pokemon people don't care about graded stuff, but I have graded stuff as well. And the third one, have a variety. Figure out what you got, get a variety, and then lean into your main audience, but also have stuff to where you can get new customers. So those are my 3 tips, and we could do this. If you guys like this series, I could do more and more of this, give you guys recaps and thoughts. I find it interesting, but I don't want to keep talking about it if you don't like it. So there you go. That's all I got today. If you want to like, subscribe, that's cool. If you want to rate us on Apple or Spotify or subscribe on YouTube, whatever you're watching this on, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, go check it out. Hit that subscribe. Okay, I've said subscribe too many times. You know what? Unsubscribe. Block me. I've earned it. That's it. That's all I got today. I'm spiraling out of control like a toilet falling out of an airplane. Y'all be good, stay sweet, and never stop collecting. Sports cards are dope. So are you. Later.